For those of you who are watching on YouTube and might not know, Community Farm Alliance, we are a nonprofit that supports family scale agriculture in Kentucky through leadership development and grassroots organizing. And this is a part of the Farmers Market Support Program. That program provides farmers markets with the tools, resources, and network development that enable them to provide a profitable market outlet for farmers, access to fresh food, and create a grassroots space for public policy. So we have several things that we do there. I want you to quickly show you a little bit about the web page, because there's a lot of support here for farmers markets. Of course, that's our vision and mission, but I wanted to show you this map. These are all the participating markets in Kentucky, and later on when we talk about Facebook advertising, there will be a link to our farmers market map, and as you see here, you can click on a pin and it gives you all really good information about those farmers markets. So we're really trying to direct folks to our farmers markets who are in our program. We have other support. You can join our newsletter by emailing Maggie. We have spotlights that Kristen does twice a month that spotlights different farmers markets. And we have a market mindfulness blog. Click there and we have a lot of different articles about how to run a farmers market. And then lastly, when this webinar is finished, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, which is a part of the Community Farm Alliance channel. And so there is the Monday Market Matters, and we have a lot of different webinars that are helpful for farmers markets. So with that introduction, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about Maggie Smith, who has been with Community Farm Alliance for many years and with over 6 years of experience managing social media. And best of all, she is a millennial, so this all comes kind of second nature to her. And as we get into the webinar, you will see how proficient she is on it. And I'm just really grateful to have her with us today. Before we get going, we want to just find out a little bit more about who we have here. And we're going to ask you 2 questions. And those should pop up on your screen. James, is it popping up?
I know. Oh, there it is.
Okay. So have you paid for any Facebook advertising, and just click on yes or no?
Okay.
Alrighty, and then we have a second question for you.
Maggie, are you seeing the results? Okay.
Yes, I'm seeing those. Thank you.
Okay.
How confident are you at running an ad campaign on Facebook? It's a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being least confident and 5 being most confident. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that. All right, looks like people are in the 3 to 4 range of confidence. So just needing a little boost. And if I recall, about 3/4 of you have done a Facebook ad before. I think that's what I read. Maggie, is that what you read too?
Yeah, that's what I got.
Okay. So I'm going to hand this over to you, Maggie.
Great. Just get this PowerPoint put up. All right, so this is just an introduction to how you can do Facebook advertising, and then I provide a little tips and tricks section at the end to help take it to the next level if you all are interested in that. And anytime you're thinking about Facebook advertising, we're happy to support you at your farmer's market if you need more help. So why Facebook? So Facebook is one of the platforms that has been created that has the greatest advantage to reach the most people. There's a variety of ages and genders and all these different demographic identifiers that are on Facebook. And because folks have smartphones, more than likely, they're checking their accounts multiple times a day, especially on the Facebook platform compared to others. Also, 80% of all internet users are on Facebook, so it's a big population to hit, and I think it's one of the easiest ways that you all can get a lot of bang for your buck. One of the big advantages on Facebook advertising is you're able to set a specific audience and create those parameters yourself that really allow you to target people who might actually be interested in your product. Talk more about setting up an audience later. Additionally, it's really cheap. According to the experts on websites like the one at the bottom, lifemarketing.com, about $5 can reach 1,000 people in a matter of seconds. So really, it's just an easy way to use your money and get it to go pretty far. And then a secondhand advantage off of using Facebook advertising is that your social media stats in general are going to go up because there's going to be more traffic on your account. And that'll also generate general engagement on your website and create some more brand awareness for your organization, farmer's market, or business. Facebook offers a variety of paid options and placements, but all ads can be broken down into these three elements: campaigns, ads, and AdSense. So a campaign is like the house of all of this. It's where all of your ads, they live. It can be used over and over again to store different ad sets. You can use this mainly as like your header to organize each additional ad underneath of it. Ad sets allow you to target separate audiences within different characteristics. You'll need an individual ad set for each of these. Separate ad sets also allow you to run multiple ads at one time. If you have a marketing plan that includes multiple graphics and different ads and you're trying to target more people, you're going to create that within your ad set. And then your ad is your actual ad that goes live, what it looks like. It can hold a variety of images that vary in color, copy, etc. And then this graphic on the right side of the screen is just Facebook's way of keeping you on track as you make your ad happen. So it breaks down each part of what it involves, and you have to do this going through one by one in this order, because once you complete one, it unlocks the other, and then you'll be able to see check marks once you've completed it. So there's this whole conversation of an ad versus a boost. And from what I've read and from where I've really dug into some of the research is that ads are more controlled and they're a better place to spend your money because you're able to set that audience and create a target around it. The boosts are usually just Facebook's way of getting you to spend a quick dollar. So the boost, you've all seen it. It comes up as this post with this button right here. It usually happens when a post is starting to get some traffic on it and engagements around it. And if you hit this button within 2 clicks, you can spend money and boost your post. I think it's effective if you have something that you need that extra like get up and go to get attendees at, but I would really encourage y'all to use the ads more frequently than the boost because you can control some more variables and really learn from them and track the stats behind them. So that's just a little background on what a Facebook ad is and how it works and why it's important to use it, because it is a platform a lot of people are interacting with. But now we're going to get into a little bit more of like the nitty gritty of how to actually do a Facebook ad and how to be successful.
Maggie, I want to just let viewers know about the PowerPoint that all these slides will be in the handout section, and the handouts are right below the questions, and you can see there that you can download any of these handouts, and Maggie will be referring to these other handouts along the way.
Thank you, Margie. I forgot about that piece. So like with anything you do, there's a process and a plan. And so I think constantly about how to set myself up for success once I get into a program. And I came up with these 4 areas of like, if you plan beforehand with these characteristics, you're going to be able to work through the ad setting software a lot quicker than you would if you were doing it as you went through it. So knowing your goal, this can be translated into the Facebook ad realm as the campaign objective. This is likely the reason you're creating the ad in the first place and why you're trying to get someone to do something that you're interested in gaining more attention around. And then this knowing your audience piece, there's an entire section within the ad builder that breaks down the audience and allows you to target location, age, interest, and several other identifiers. And knowing who you're looking to reach prior to creating the ad will save you a lot of time. There's also some tools that I mentioned in the resource section of that Facebook ad supplemental material handout that will let you dig into your audience a little bit deeper and learn some of those trends of who's actually following you. And if we have time, we'll go over that tool together on this webinar. And then just knowing your budget and the total amount of dollars you're looking to spend, it'll help you with planning the frequency of your posts. And when you know this ahead of time, it just speeds up the process and allows you to get that ad up and going and getting more engagements around it. And I can't stress this last one enough. You're going to be putting ads out and you're going to want to create this brand around you. And the more consistent you can be and the more your graphics are cohesive and you can like show different variations of colors and things, the more people are going to start recognizing you as a brand and you as a business. And it's just going to build more following and keep people interested. And that consistency goes a long way. So this is how you create a successful ad before you even get into Facebook. Once you get in, oh, go ahead, Margie.
Yeah, just a little aside here. There is, if branding is new to you, there is a webinar on our YouTube channel all about branding. So hop on over there and take a look at that webinar, and that can give you a better idea of how you want to present yourself to the world.
That's a great plug. And then when in doubt, just think about the brands that you follow and the things you know about them. I'm sure all of us can think of a jingle in our head that's related to something we've eaten or something that we wear. So just think about what catches your eye and try to mimic some of those things within it. So once you log into Facebook, you're going to see this little arrow over on the right-hand side that drops down, and your pages that you manage are going to be there. But you're going to go straight down to this manage ads section. And once you enter that, you're going to see a screen that looks something like this. This is the ad center where each of your campaigns, ad sets, and ads will be stored. Most likely, if you've never created an ad, the screen will be blank. So once you click that green button, you're going to have another screen pop up, and this list of items that I showed you all earlier will be on the left side. That'll guide you through that. This guide is going to be your like really good friend because you're going to be like, did I mess something up? But you'll be able to see check marks and it'll walk you through it. Facebook is really user friendly for that. And this also helps you organize your campaigns a little bit deeper. Step 3, you're going to choose an objective. So this is the goal setting piece of it all, right? You're really just choosing a label and a way to store the ads you plan on releasing. I typically use brand awareness because overall with each post CFA makes, we're trying to gain more recognition of who we are and what we do. I think this is a safe bet for most of you as well. The cool thing about Ads Manager and Facebook for that matter is that they try to create these platforms to be friendly. So they have all these different context objective areas. And if you hover over them, you'll see this little eye on the side that's for info, and it'll pop up a definition of what Facebook actually means by that term. And they always have this little learn more button so you can dive deeper and actually understand their terminology. And then step 4 is selecting an audience. Honestly, this might be my favorite feature of this software. And each of the screenshots that I show you on this, they're actually in line to where it's a web page and it goes down. And you scroll, but for sake of being able to see them and dig into them, I just screenshot them so we can zoom in. So the audience if you've set it up prior to this, you're going to be able to run through this really quickly. And you can use your Facebook insights and in general the geographic areas you're trying to target to really hone in on who you want to reach. So you can label your audience in this area. If you haven't created an audience before, you're going to do a custom audience. But if you have one, you can save them under labels that will be helpful for later ads that you post. And you can go back in and use that same audience if you had success with it. So then you'll get into going a little bit deeper on where people are located that you want to reach. You can include zip codes, congressional districts, towns, even little bitty towns in Eastern Kentucky pop up on here and you can list them. I typically target the entire state because we have markets across the state for the ads we're running. Facebook auto populates ages 18 to 65 plus because usually when you're running an ad, you're wanting someone to purchase something, and that's just the age of society's age of adulthood. They auto-populate in that way. And then gender, you can classify that if you want to. If you're running a campaign maybe that's based on all women and you're wanting to get more moms at the market, you could click that button and target a little closer. And then languages, I typically leave blank, but if you were to run a campaign that you wanted to reach a huge Spanish-speaking population, you could distinctify that there. And then this feature is really taking it one step further to where you're targeting where people, you're targeting the characteristics that include their behaviors, interests, and demographics. These could be pages people have liked. These are things that they've indicated on their own that they're interested in. And these are really the sweet spot identifiers that really drive folks to your farmer's market or to whatever ad you're putting out because they've already identified within their own page that they are interested. So the algorithm will push them to your ad. Some of the titles that I use in this box that are really helpful for the ads we're pushing out are foodie, farmer, agriculture, and farmer's market. The suggestions button is really helpful in this category because it'll get your brain moving on what things could pop up. And then lastly, I'll mention this gauge. So audience size and this gauge will be your entire guide for this audience section because it'll adjust and fluctuate within real time of how many people you're reaching, who you're reaching as far as your estimated daily results of people that are engaged. I think that we can all assume that the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle of that green. I have not had success on getting there with the targeted areas, so I would say as long as you're not towards that specific side, you're doing good. And I think that you can just be sure to adjust this by using those audience insights that Facebook gives you and play with it over time. A lot of this Facebook ad stuff is trial and error and adjusting and adapting.
Hey, Maggie.
Yeah.
I have a question about sort of utilizing the demographics and selecting gender ad for the ads. Given that markets are, the people who like market pages are like skews, but like 2/3 towards women, typically. Is there any advantage to just targeting women, do you think, on ads?
I think that there could be. I hesitate to exclude if there's not a lot of men coming to the market. I would almost say do the flip side and target a bunch of men and see if you can change that to get it more even. But it's never going to be even, right? Because we're seeing that mostly demographics across Facebook are women, and they're usually in their mid-30s. That are actually using the platform the most. I could see benefits if you were really trying to target a campaign that was specific to women, and that might increase your customer base. But as I said, it's really trial and error. I haven't done an ad that's specific to either gender, so I don't really have any statistics on if they work better based on that. But it is something to think about. Is that helpful? Does that answer that question?
Yeah, that's helpful.
And then step 5, setting your budget. So typically, you'll already know this ahead of time of how much you're wanting to spend. And there's this difference between a daily budget and a lifetime budget. I push more for the lifetime budget because sometimes you end up spending less because it's based on engagements. But Facebook, usually it costs $1 a day for an ad to run. And according to experts like Quora.com, ads go stale after about 3 weeks. So typically I do a 10 to 14 day campaign. I see that those are the sweet spots of getting ads out there. And then you can always do a new ad that gives the same material, but in a different graphic and a different language that'll reach different folks. And then there's this way that you can also, down on the bottom of this screen when you're in this budget side, there's like an advanced settings tab that'll let you schedule when your campaign actually runs based on time and day that you're interested in it going out. And then it'll allow you to optimize it and price it, whether you want to bid on clicks and impressions and things like that. I typically go with the easy one click, get it done, push it out type thing because it works. Facebook has put a lot of research into getting this out there to get folks engaged with it. And I think that it's awesome that you can control more things, but just for your average ad that's going out, I think it's fine to click lifetime budget, set your dates, and let it roll. And then you're going to get to the fun part, right? So creating your actual ad. Facebook allows you to do drag and drop, which is really easy. So if you've created a graphic or have a video prior to doing this step, you can just plug that in there. There are 2 formats that you're going to see, this carousel thing where you're able to put multiple images and videos within this rotating slideshow thing that's going to pop up on the Facebook page. And then there's a single image or video. I use the single image or video more than I use the carousel, but I don't see them as greater than one another or anything like that. I think it's just whatever your style is and what you're seeing folks perform on. I think that you should test it and see what your audience prefers. I would just urge you to find a sweet spot and stick with it on what they're actually responding to and what the audience really likes, because that's what's going to give you more consumers. And then once you get your graphic plugged in and you're moving forward with this, you're going to fill in this primary text spot, which is actually the text body of what your Facebook post and ad when it runs will look like. You'll be able to see a preview on this side of the screen at all times and adjust it as needed. You can add in a website URL, and there's even some advanced options here if you're wanting to play with those. And this is a cool feature too, because it'll show you where the mobile, what the mobile looks like, and then what the online desktop version and things like that will look like. Using Facebook ads, that's another advantage because it just automatically adapts and adjusts to the type of screen that folks are on, how they're viewing it. And then anything worth doing is worth evaluating, in my opinion. And Facebook has really made a clean chart for us to be able to look at how ads are performing and how things are shaping up. This is CFA's ad center that we've used. One of the things that I really like is that in real time, we're seeing these numbers adjust and adapt. So every single day I could go in here and check the progress and then adjust my audience. If I think that that's the issue, I could adjust the language too if that's a problem. But really, this just shows you what ads perform better than others. And we're seeing a lot of involvement with the farmers market posts we're putting out. And I honestly think that's because our audience was a little bit more specific than these Eastern Kentucky ads were. But one of the other great things is that at the end of the year, when you've ran all your campaigns, you can actually see the results for them as a total, and those numbers are already calculated for you. So if you need to show them to your financial committee or anything like that, you can go in here and pull this.
And that would be anybody who has a marketing mini grant, that would be a good thing to put in your final report.
Great idea. So there's just 7 steps, right? And it's really a click, click, click. Do your thing, but being prepared is really going to make that process less stressful. I've gotten the Ad Center when I was first learning how to use it, and I was like, oh man, I don't have a graphic, and then I would have to like exit out and go make a graphic. So doing that preparation work really makes it less of a headache. These are just some tools and tips that I've learned over my time with Community Farm Alliance and my time doing branding work and social media. Being consistent, I can't stress that enough. Folks will recognize when you're keeping things consistent with your brand or even with the language that you're using in your post. They recognize that kind of stuff. And so the more consistent you can be, the more likely people are going to continue to follow your account and actually engage with your post. Don't be afraid to play around with fonts and styles. In that handout section, I included a Canva tips and tricks sheet. I'll get more into Canva here in a second, but that tips and tricks sheet is really a lot about fonts and style. I really love using font combos because people respond to different fonts in different ways. I like pairing a playful font with something that's more blocky to just show some dimension. Don't be afraid to mess around with it. And then also, once again, I encourage you to just post different things and see what your audience is going to respond to. And then the 75-25 ratio. We are a visual group of people these days. Videos are really going out the roof on stats for engagements on Facebook and other social media platforms. We're not reading as much as we wanted, as much as we once did. So we're really responding to this visual aspect of things. So when you're making your Facebook ad, you want to make sure that that image that you include with it is really eye-catching and really good, and that the words that you're putting on there are only words that you need to catch their attention with. So you can put all of the details into the text of the ad. You don't need to include those in the actual ad itself. Then, I can't stress this piece enough. Good images go really far. As a communications person who's been doing this for a while, I was really stretching myself with the graphics and screenshots I used earlier in this presentation because I expanded them a little beyond their best fit. But using good images go really far because people are like, wow, look at that high quality photo. Look at how good that looks, and the lighting and the eye-catchingness of it. It really is important to take good photos and to make sure that's an extension of your brand so that folks are recognizing the effort and work you put into that. There's some really good free online stock photography sites that you all can use for that too. I can drop those in that handout, and we can send them out later if they're not in there yet. Pexel.com is one just off the top of my head. And they're free, so that's great. Quote when you can, because social media is a platform that we have invented and used as a real reality channel for folks to be tuned into our day-to-day lives and to tell people what's on our minds. It's really good to put a person's face with whatever you're trying to show and to quote them because it builds movements and shows real people that are involved. Some of our highest promoting posts have really been the ones that we've had a headshot of someone and put a quote in there, and then their network jumped in and like shared it, and then it just blew up because of how many people were attached to it because they could actually visualize an actual person. Another hit on those network things, you all need to tag folks in your posts. Let them know that you guys are posting something so that they can share it to their own network. There's some stats from the experts like Social Media Today and HubSpot and other ones that I mentioned that say people respond to a post that they see 60% more if their friend shares it. So if they have a personal connection to someone who's sharing the post. So when you tag folks, you're tapping into those networks and requesting them to share it to their own folks and really building a rapport with these different networks around your brand. And this next one's kind of funny, but using emojis is one of the things that I tested when I first started managing CFA's account because I had heard someone at a conference with the Appalachian region talk about how emojis within post made their post go up like 30% or something. And I thought it was crazy, but I tested it and it's really true. So when you're making a Facebook post, in the text of the body of your actual post, not where the image is, but at the top, if you include emojis throughout that, it helps guide people's eyes to different pieces of information. So some of the ones I use, if you look at CFA's Facebook account, are the down arrow when there are links. It's really helpful. I use stars when it's something really cool or exciting. And then, of course, you can use fruits and vegetables because a lot of the folks on here are working with farmers markets. So just think about emojis as an added tool and an added bonus to getting more people actually reading your text. And then lastly, I encourage this living room language. So living room language can be a double-edged sword because you're trying to be professional, you're trying to hold a brand, and you're trying to do all of these things that seem really stiff and boxy. But really, this Facebook advertising platform and Facebook and social media in general are a way to get a conversation going. So you want to make sure that your ads and the text you're using in your posts are really personable and really just a conversation with who you're trying to reach and who your audience is. I typically use questions to get things started, and then kind of have a conversation with myself within the post to reveal some of the answers and places to go with links. But using living room language is really a game changer when it comes to your brand because it makes people feel like they're a part of what you're doing. And
Maggie,
then lastly, oh, go ahead.
I just put links to the Pexels website as well as to the Unsplash website in the chat box. So folks, look down there if you want to hop on over and see what those look like.
Great. Thank you so much, Margie. And then one last thing is these spheres on the right side of the screen. Canva, I can't stress this enough, is like everyone who thinks they're bad at graphics, they can make graphics in Canva. Canva provides you with templates. In the resource materials, I provided a YouTube link to a video that's Canva for beginners, and it really goes into how manipulative you can get in there with their software. It's really great. And then if you're really into the theory of what social media is and you want to keep up with trends, I can't stress enough that the Social Media Today blog that you get into your email is really a great platform for that. That's what I follow. And then HubSpot has been really helpful for me when I've done webinars like this. They have step-by-step guides in there. I also provided a link to their blog on Facebook ads. I pulled a lot of the information in this presentation today from HubSpot, and they're just a great platform that breaks it down in really simple living room language that you can follow. So those are just some other resources. Now we're at the end of the formal presentation of this, but I'm happy to take any questions. I'm also happy to hop over to Canva and the Facebook Ad Center and Audience Insights and show you all that if that's something the participants are interested in. Good question.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for them to come in. But this is a great time to ask any questions, even the folks who might have come in a little late. If you have any questions about or any suggestions or any ideas, please toss them our way. We'll chew on them. Might be helpful for other people to hear them too. So don't hesitate. And again, you can raise your hand if you have a microphone on your computer, or you can type the question out yourself.
I think one of the other things to just remember, y'all, when you're doing Facebook ads and when you're doing Canva is that you are just testing it out. I did not know how to do any of this stuff prior to CFA, and I used a lot of YouTube links and a lot of those blogs and resources that I shared with you to figure out how to do it. So don't be intimidated by it. It's really easy once you figure out the step-by-step process. And I really hope this was helpful for y'all.
Since we have a little time, why don't you just hop over to Canva?
Great.
Because that has been something that I've used a lot, and it's so easy to create good-looking ads on.
Yeah, so when you get into Canva, you can create an account for free, and we use the free account and it seems to work really well. The only upside to doing a paid account that I've found is that you can create templates and share them specifically with teams, and it can actually have your branded stuff on call, on queue automatically. But when you get in here, you can use this. There's all my graphics that I've worked on in the past, but you can get in here, and if you click this Facebook ad or Facebook post, this is going to provide you with a bunch of templates that you can just plug your own info in. So this is already sized to be perfect for Facebook and to actually be high quality enough to move from the mobile device to the desktop and those kind of things fluctuate. So if I just type in, let's do farmer and see if something pops up. Okay, sorry, that didn't work. Maybe farm. That's not a farm. Food. So as you see over here on the left, there's a ton of different graphics and modules that you can manipulate and change based on what you're looking to do. I really like using ones like this. So when you go in here, you can actually delete these photos that are not yours, and you can upload your own images and put different things in. So I might want to use these images that my photographer friend took at a market on here instead of using theirs. And if I do that, that one doesn't look that good, does it? If I do that, I can just keep changing them until I hit something that I like. This looks pretty good. And then you can change the text in here. Let's do this. You can change this text. And one of the things that I've found really wonderful about this is you can ungroup these texts because they create these templates. And if you want, you have to click out of it. And then if you want, you can stretch these to where they're longer and actually fit within, that's too big, and actually fit within your box a different way. And you can change these fonts to different things. Maybe I'll use this one. And adjust those based on the style, but it's really an easy way to make good graphics on the fly. And then what you can do is you also can change the background color and different things like that. I can adjust this box size to make it skinnier. I can delete this box if I don't want it on there. Uh-oh. Yeah, see, you can just like mess around with it and figure it out. But because I'm sharing my screen, I can't hit this delete button. There we go. I just had to move the panel. But yeah, so you can do this, and then you can also change the color of any of the text and graphics. You can add in your own hex code here. So one of CFA's branded colors is this purple color, and it'll change to that. And then what you'll do when you want to post it is you'll hit this download button. The PNG is really high quality, so I would say that when you put a JPEG, it really compresses everything and can get pixelated. So you download it as a PNG, and it'll pop up in your downloads down here. And so when I'm posting an ad, I will go to my Facebook page, and I will drag this guy. I want to drag it. Told you guys, it's all trial and error. I'm going to drag it and drop it there, and then I would create the text. And then I would make sure, you see I did that little @ symbol there. You can tag within your post if you do the @ symbol, even though CFA is not popping up. Let's just tag the community farmers market. So you can tag, but you have to make sure that you like that page from your account that you're posting on so that it'll pop up in that. And then you can also tag people within that as well. And you'll be like, Margie is going to be there presenting. of course, it'll be way sexier and snazzier when you're actually planning it out. But then you'll hit post and it'll post and you'll see the whole thing and it'll pop up really clean and clear. So that's Canva in a nutshell. Was that helpful, Margie? Is that what you were hoping for?
Yeah, that was great. Of course, when you're starting it, you're not as quick as Maggie just was. That would have taken me about a half hour, but I really appreciate watching an expert.
Okay, so we have a comment from Tabia. Maybe we can follow up with you afterwards. Tabia is interested in more branding information. Do you have any quick and dirty tips for branding that you can share for people just getting started with that, Maggie?
Yeah, I would say building a logo and making sure you have a clean logo is number one. I also think that you can come up with some styles around colors if you have colors that you really like or that work really well. CFA's brand is a little more on the loose side because that was how we wanted the brand to be, and it's manipulative to represent. There's a lot of theory behind what our brand is, but I would recommend thinking of a set of colors or even considering some fonts that you like and building it out that way. There's also, I've found a lot of people really like high quality images. So like these ones that my friend took, I use them, but I also, we had our brand guy with, what's it called, James? Do you remember who did it? The Red Dog or something.
Red 70.
Red 70. I was thinking about Clifford, evidently. But Red 70 did our branding, and they got us some of these really nice stock photos. But you can have these, like you can create these yourself if you go out into your own farm or garden and take pictures and then just use them as liberally as you want to, because people like repetition, believe it or not, and they're like, recognize this white cow when we post it, and it's like cute and stuff. But yeah, so I think the quick and dirty is like come up with a good name for your business, and then a logo, and then think about color schemes and fonts. But your brand is so much more than the visual side of it. It's also the rapport you build with people. It's your image as far as like your total organization or business, like what that is like. And I would be happy to talk more one-on-one if you have more specific questions about it, Tabia.
I put a link to a blog article that we did on branding. It's down there in the chat box. And then, of course, there's the webinar that I mentioned also, and I think that's linked in the blog post.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael raised his hand. Let me see if I can Michael, I'm going to unmute you. So you're unmuted. Go ahead and ask your question. If you have a microphone, maybe you don't. I'm guessing this question is the same one you were going to ask, the one you wrote out. So his question is, I spend too much time inviting friends to like. Is there an easy way to invite everyone that hasn't already been invited?
Yeah, so if you're talking specifically about your Facebook page, I think the easiest way, and if this doesn't answer your question, let me know and we'll figure out the answer for you. But I think the easiest way to invite people that haven't liked, and bear with me on this, y'all, because I'm doing this on the fly, and it might take me a second. So you hit invite friends. So when you're on here, I think you can just click, so it says not invited there, and you just click the select all and then send invites. And it'll send it to everyone who has not liked the page. See how Kelsey is not selected? That's an easy way to do it. And this is based only on your friends list. This is not based on CFA's friends list. So yeah, you can do that way. Is that helpful, Michael?
if it's helpful, you can either use the chat box, the chat window to send us a comment, Michael, or you can just submit it as a question. Either way is helpful for us to get some feedback. I don't see not invited.
Huh.
Okay, maybe we can troubleshoot that with you after the call, after this webinar.
Maybe because you haven't invited anyone before, that might be why it's not popping up. But yeah, we can definitely check your own page out and figure that out. Sorry, but that wasn't more helpful. One of the other things, just quickly, I think we have a few more minutes. I was talking about this tool, Audience Insights. So when you're on your actual Facebook page, you can go to this Insights and you can see stats and all of that. And it's like really focused on the way things are performing. And then you have this people section. Well, this Audience Insights that's here is not through your it's through your Facebook, but it's a totally different platform that's filtering the data even further to break it down through demographics. So you can see, according to your page, what age and gender people are, who's following you, their relationship status, if they've posted that, their education level, if they've posted that. And then you can see what fields they're working in. So you could use some of these as your identifiers that get a little bit more targeted and specific. And then you can also figure out who's liking your pages, the location of where people are, the activity that they're giving your page, and how they're interacting with it, like what are they on down here. This just is a tool that allows you to build your audience with a little bit more data from your actual Facebook page.
There's a lot of power in this for folks who are interested in sort of delving down. I mean, I think there's a lot of power, especially in these audience insights, to make your targeted ads really really hit on the folks that you're really looking for. So,
yep.
You know, I've gone through I've learned some stuff around this, around social marketing campaigns where you create personas of, you know, the type of people who don't come to the market all the time, but you want to turn them into regular customers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is some of the data that you can use to do that. And maybe that's a different webinar someday. But I think there's some real use in taking the time to think through, you know, the types of people that you're trying to reach, what their interests might be, what their demographics are, where they might be from, and this is where you can do that.
Yep, and I think that also is part of building your brand too, is really knowing who you're already engaging with and who your audience already is, and then thinking about how to build that out and reach folks that are not naturally a part of it.
Yeah, the goal is growth, growing your brand.
Yes, absolutely.
So don't just appeal to the people that you're already appealing to. You want to appeal to them plus. Because
people equal sales, right? We want folks to actually come and enjoy the farmers markets and spend their money there to support you guys. So.
Yep.
Well, I don't have anything else unless there are additional questions. Feel free, y'all, to email me, attendees.
We do have a final poll.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have one more poll, and it's just a repeat of what we started this out with, just to see if you gained any more insight. Trying to pull it up. It's appeared on my control panel. Do you have that poll, James? There we go. So once again, it's just how confident are you at running an advertising campaign? 1 to 5. If you can just click on one of those.
Okay.
Looks like people are feeling pretty confident.
Great.
Leave that open a little bit more.
Oh, I closed it. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, people are feeling pretty confident though. That's all right. Okay, so this, it will be, it was recorded and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Quick before you leave, if you didn't get a chance, go ahead and download these handouts with the PowerPoint and the tip sheets. Maggie, do you have a minute to talk to Bia and Michael? Maybe they can stay on.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Okay. Michael and Tabia, do you want to hang out a bit? Just put something in the chat or the questions. Otherwise, thank you all for joining us today. And if you have some questions, you can pop me off an email, or James or Maggie, and we'll be glad to help you out. So you all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.